Welcome back to the vlog and welcome back to Yumbai Talk. We are heading back to Goroka. This is my wife Chelsea. She'll be joining us along on this flight today, so let's get started because it's very warm in here. Right over 14%. I'll introduce my low idle. Sure, I don't have any dogs around. Right.
TOS system test. Okay.
If you're wondering why we're wearing these power necklaces, we just dropped off a lawnmower that we had a GoFundMe that raised the money for it back in the summer months. Just dropped it off today, so they were all very, very excited, and it did a big welcoming thing. If you want to see that video, wait to the end and I'll post it at the end, and you guys can see that, as well as the medical clinic solar panel project. That will be out at the end. So it says it's 117 degrees in the cockpit. Moresby 6538, November Tango Kilo taxi. Fuel caps and selectors are good. We'll turn TOS off. We're heading up to 15,000 to check out the tallest mountain in PNG today on our way back. We are super light today, 5,200. Rotate at 53. 63 if we had to come in. Caps are set at 20. Get our trim set up. If we're not 40 knots by that little hut on the right, we will full reverse, heavy braking. Tops up, cut off, pull up, and shut up. If we're going off, we'll go off to the left at the end. After takeoff, pitch for 85, consider EPL to lower terrain. 80 full flaps, cut off, pull off, and shut off. Masters off, emergencies, crack my door. Alright, ignition, inlet, and lights. We'll get SAR once we take off. Condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. 35 degrees at sea level, 1520, so 1470. Condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. Because we're on a side slope, we're going to go full right aileron. We've got a tailwind, so I'm just going to get more speed on takeoff. Rotate 53, 1470. Nope, guess we're going. Alright, airspeed's alive. Now we can straighten our ailerons out. And we'll just nose over and get my speed up because it was a tailwind pretty good a minute ago. Looks like it's died off though. Let's go ahead and make our right hand turn now. It was about 15 knots about 2 hours ago when we landed. Alright, I'm just climbing out at 73 knots for my best angle of climb initially until we get out right here, and then I'll nose on over. Airspeed up over 85, and then we'll start getting our flaps out. So this is the Jimmy Valley right here in front of us. We just flew out here from Goroka to drop off that lawnmower like I was saying. And on the way back, we're going to go check out the tallest mountain in PNG, Mount Wilhelm, just shy of 15,000 feet. 0 degrees and bring our prop to 2,000. And our ITT 720. And then we're just going to pitch for 99 knots. That's going to be our best rate of climb because Mount Wilhelm is not that far away from us. Oh, it's really warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah, it was better though than it was before.
Yeah, well it's only 105 in here now. It was 117 when we took off. I know. It'll get better here. So, I had posed a question to my patrons. Is there anything that you would want to ask my wife on this flight? And probably the most asked question was, Does your wife get nervous when you go fly to these kind of places? Or if she was flying with me, is she nervous going into these places? So I thought I'd just recover that as well and maybe go into a little more depth as well. She can go into more depth on maybe her feelings on me doing things like this that some would consider dangerous and others would consider lots of fun, like I do. So, Chelsea, do you feel nervous about the job choice that I chose?
Well, I don't, because I feel like you're just a really capable pilot, or even a driver, or any other things that you tend to like to do, or a motorcycle rider. I feel like you don't take risks. You have calculated your abilities, and you don't try to push them too far. So, to me, I can trust you 100% that you're simple and you're fun. So.
Well, I definitely enjoy it. I think if I was doing any other job, a desk job would kill me. I love this job. The reason why I love this job so much is because it's like an ever-changing. Every day, yeah, you might be flying to the same locations, but the weather's different, which changes the scenery, which changes the route. And every day it's just something different. Like you're going to different locations and you get to see all of PNG, and you get to be able to spend time with the missionaries. You get to spend time with the people out here, and I just really, really enjoy that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. You're not a desk job kind of person.
That would kill me. All right, my flower necklace is starting to fall apart.
Smells great too.
Yeah, it smells super great.
Itchy.
I think it's time to rouse it before it starts staining my shirt.
Have fun. Do you like that?
Over 15,000. We're not going to get too many more knots out of our indicated airspeed, so I'm going to go ahead and bring our ITT back to 700. Just pull the power lever back, really, really small increments, and then the ITT will just level off at 700. And we're not going to fly at our 1250 of torque like we normally do once we get over around 13,000 feet. All right, we're just heading up to Mount Wilhelm. We're almost to the top now. As you can see, it's 14,793 feet. We're at 15,000, so that's a good altitude. Looking at the wind, it's coming towards us, so more than likely we'll have a lot of like bumps on this side of the mountain. But then once we get to the other side, it'll be nice and smooth. And unfortunately, there's a lot of clouds, as you can see, out ahead of us, so that we're probably not going to be able to see the ridges and whatnot. But regardless, we're still going to go by it because it's directly on track. Then we'll just start our descent pretty steep down, so I might as well put in my profile so I have an idea what kind of descent rate I'm going to have to go down at. So I'm going to put in 6,100 because I'll probably be entering into a left downwind once I get to Goroka. So yeah, basically my track's going to come in, let's see, come on, here we go. Come in and then enter into a left downwind and then go in like that. So 6,100 feet for Goroka's pattern. Looks like probably around 1,100, 1,200 feet per minute. Once we get just past the ridge is what it's going to take to be able to get down to 6,000 feet. It's one really nice thing about the G1000. When I flew the GA8 with MAF years and years ago, it did not have that function. You had to do all the math in your head when you needed to do your descent and your descent rate and everything like that. And so one of the questions I asked you on the first flight, and if you guys want to see the flight with Chelsea from Chengdu out to Yanbaitok delivering the lawnmower, I'll link it if I can remember up here or at the end of the video. It was more likely I'll probably forget to put it up here. Anyways, one of the questions was, what is something that she misses about America? And so I decided maybe I should answer that myself, but what is something that I actually miss about America? And it's usually the little things that we can't get here.
There's lots of this America, like what we can't get here.
Yeah, you can get just about anything here, but it's going to cost you to be able to get it here. So one of the things is Little Caesar's Pizza. That was something we do like every Sunday. It was great because it was cheap and it was, I think, delicious, and my kids think delicious. That's something I miss. Pizza and PNG is not pizza. Pizza in Australia is not pizza. If you're from Australia, it is not the same as American pizza. The sauces and the toppings are all wrong.
I do ketchup for sauce. It's not.
Yeah, they use like ketchup for sauce here, and they use cardboard for crust. So it's not very good. So that's the biggest thing I miss by far none. All right, looks like 15,000 is not going to get me over top of these. I'm just going to go around the north side of the mountain. We'll just creep around it. We'll probably have a bunch of bumps on this side as we get closer, because we've got 18 knots coming at us. And then once we get to the other side, it should smooth out, and then we'll start a fairly quick descent down into Goroka. It's a real bummer that you can't see it, because it looks so different than the rest of the terrain. Pretty much at like 12,000 feet up is where like the tree line is, so above that it's just kind of just really rocky and just really rugged, really rugged, and so different than all the other mountains around here. I remember when I was doing my training, the very first few times I flew by clouds like this, and I was like, dude, that is the coolest thing in the world. I still think it's like the coolest thing in the world. When you can fly that close to clouds. Especially when you fly tiny little holes and stuff, it's just so much fun. Never gets boring.
I didn't actually answer that. Like, what do I miss?
What do you miss?
Get here. I think I miss like driving by myself.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the store, going to Walmart by myself. Exciting stuff like that.
Yeah, so PNG's in some areas is not always the safest, and our missionarization prefers and doesn't really like the fact that for women to drive into town by themselves in case they were to have a problem, a wreck, flat tire, or whatever else. More than likely along our highway going into town would be more than fine, more than safe. If you were to make any further trips outside of our little area and the communities that are familiar with us and stuff, there might be problems. There have been problems in the past. Yeah, I could definitely see that. That would absolutely kill me not to be able to have the freedom that you're so used to in the States.
Usually you get to go into town and
motorcycle rides by myself, you know, into the mountains, go explore, whatever else. Yeah, it's definitely a lot different.
Kids and myself are on the center for months without going out.
Yeah. All right, well, it's all right down in this area right here.
I can see a little bit over there.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, now you can kind of see a little bit. It's barely peeking through. Unfortunately, my 360 camera's on the other wing, so I can't point it down there. Well, there you go. There's the top of Wilhelm. Really cool how rugged it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, I'm actually amazed. We got 21 knots direct headwind, and it didn't have any bumps whatsoever. I'm actually really amazed, because usually with that kind of winds, it rocks you around for a little bit. Head on through this little thing through here, and then start our descent probably down. If we can see any more down through here.
Yeah, there's a lake.
Oh, you can see the lake. Awesome. Maybe on the other side of this, we'll be able to see it as well. Yeah, there's two lakes down there, and then a waterfall coming out of the upper lake that goes into the lower lake. It's super pretty.
I don't think we went on this side. We went on the other side when we...
It looks like it's clearing out right here. Hopefully you can maybe see down in there. Oh, there you go. There's the top. Oh, that's awesome.
There's another lake.
Yeah, there should be two, and I think they're down there more.
Some waterfalls. No, I see one right there.
Oh, that is so cool. Let me do a 180. So, hey, I'm so glad that we actually get to see the ridge up here. That is really cool.
They're like both summit lakes. Kind of like how we see that in Colorado Springs.
Yep. Awesome.
There's several of them.
Vertical track.
Now we just start our 1,000 foot per minute descent. Down through the clouds. This is really fun too, wiggling on my way down. Love doing that. If your ears start hurting, let me know and I'll slow the descent down.
That's fine, I can pop.
Let's see, which way is going to be the best? I saw some holes there, but I think I'm going to have better luck. Well, no, this is fine. Hopefully don't get sick of me flinging around. Our altitude all the way down to 6,100. It'll show a little blue line on my screen when I'm going to get to that altitude. We're kind of coming in the top of the valley. Let's see if we can find a hole here that we can squeeze through. Not enough for me to go through quite yet. All right, 2 miles to run Goroka. Oh, great. This is the end of the Goroka Valley right here where we can see down in there. Got the dark spot, and then the lighter stuff, that's the Goroka Valley. That's when it starts in there.
Mosby, Alpha November, Kilo 135.
Can you like recognize where you're at just from like your surroundings, or is it because you're looking at the map?
No, I just know that that's what it is. I know where I am, and I know that the range goes this way.
November, Kilo 130, standby.
It's crazy. There's just so many mountains and so many valleys that you can.
Well, after you fly them a million times, when they're clear, you know where you are. When all the rain and everything, all the clouds are really close, then it's a lot harder to see where you are. But as long as you stay ahead of the game and you can kind of see where you're going the whole way, then it's, you know where the valleys are, you know what certain mountains look like. Okay. They have distinct things to them. I call it Goroka Tower. Goroka Tower, November, Tango Kilo.
Tango Kilo, Goroka Tower, go ahead.
Good day, November, Tango Kilo, 19 miles to the west, left 15,000 on descent. Your circuit time 4-1 and tracking through the Sorrow North at this time.
Tango Kilo 1014, runway 35 right and second left downwind, port on base.
1014, track for left, downward port, base for 35 right, November, Tango Kilo. I'm glad it was good weather. Now we got to see the top of it too. Whoa. Wasn't expecting that one. The airstrip is right ahead of us. That little grouping of way out there, the light buildings and stuff, that's the airport. All right, we can go ahead and take off our oxygen now. All right, we're 10 miles. We'll throw our landing light on. Pitot heats are turned off now. All right, we're 7 miles. We'll start our landing checklist. Our selectors and brakes, our TAWS is already enabled. Our VREF, we're super light. So we could come in at 60 knots, but I'll just come in probably at 70 knots because there's no need to come in that slow. Our lights and inlet, once we get down below 140, we'll do our inlet. If we do need to go around, it's power up, 20 degrees, flaps, pitch for 73, and reset our ICT to 740, and maneuver is required. All right, there's 3.5 miles, autopilot off, prop forward. And bring my torque on down to 5,600. There's 140, engine on the bypass. And under 138 first degrees of flaps. Right, prop and harnesses are done, flaps and landing clearance to go. Downwind's 6,100, and he said report on base. All right, beam the numbers, 20 degrees of flaps. Turn our base at 6,000, correction, 5,800. Goroka Tower, November, Tango Kilo, turning left base, 35 right.
Tango Kilo, 35 right, clear to land.
Clear to land, 35 right, November, Tango Kilo. All right, we'll turn final 5,600. We'll slow down to 80 knots for our base. All right, there's 5,600, turning
500.
Final. We'll just pitch in for 70 knots. We'll float a little bit longer, but that's all right. It's a long runway, and there's no need to come in at like 60 knots, super slow. There's 70 knots. And 3 knots of tailwind, which is usually what makes it have some downdrafts right here. downdraft. Lots of birds. Watch out, bird. You're coming awfully close to my wing. Alright guys, thanks so much for joining along on my wife and I's date up to 15,000 feet. If you guys want to see the flight that I took her on out to Jan-Baitak, like I said, I'll leave that here at the end. You guys can click on that. Or if you guys want to see the lawnmower that we dropped off and all of their welcoming crew that they did all up in their traditional like dress up, all that good stuff. And I'll also leave that linked after this as well. And we're also doing like a solar panel project that's kind of linked with that video, so you guys can watch that if you guys are interested in joining on some projects. I have some more in mind for later on this year as well. Oh, it's nice that the cargo door didn't ding like that all the way here. I think one of the going bad in the door and it thinks that it's cracked open. Alright, we landed exactly with 320, which is perfect. It's 1 hour of fuel on board. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. See you next time.